Hey everyone, have you heard of the intellectual dark web, the IDW? Well, today we're going to talk about it.
People need to be awake and they need to be aware. They need to stand up.
So what brought this on was I was on a live stream on a channel called Nightmare Fuel, and a hit piece came out, and there were 3 categories in the hit piece. They labeled people IDW, AltRight, and AltRight. So it happened that Nightmare Fuel was labeled AltRight. And in fact, he should actually be, I'm going to give you another classification. I would call him anti-SJW liberals, because he's more of a YouTuber. The IDW, the intellectual dark web, it's mostly like college professors and people who get interviewed on Joe Rogan and the Rubin Report. So anyway, now we're going to talk about kind of the evolution of how all of these groups came out. So originally, all 4 of these groups in this category, they were all kind of the alt-right. It was basically Gen Z and millennials and a little bit of Gen X, but generally a young, a lot of high school kids. And just kind of, it grew out of, there was the Pepe meme, and it was very anti-communist. It was conservative in the sense that it was against the left. It changed quite a bit. So this was kind of the spirit of it in 2016 during their meme war leading up to the election. That they think they won the election for Trump. I didn't really know. I kind of knew a little bit about this stuff, but I didn't know like it was a whole big community. And then I kind of fell into all of this stuff spring of 2017 when I found out about the Battle of Berkeley and all of that stuff, because I was a follower of Ann Coulter, and when Ann Coulter couldn't speak at Berkeley and I went to watch videos where Ann Coulter was being interviewed, she said, well, I don't know if I'm going to be able to speak at Berkeley, they're threatening to sue, this and that. So I went digging for all this background information, and that's kind of what led me to becoming a political person. But in the process, I found a lot of stuff about communism and Antifa, and that's why you notice a lot of the stuff I do on my channel, a lot of it is about communism. So this song is really cool. This came out spring of 2017. Ignore the fact, and it's on my playlist, ignore the fact, this is my music playlist, by the way. If you don't already know, you can check out my music playlist. Highly recommend it. All nice anti-establishment. I mean, some of it is like meme stuff, like PPAP, which is a pen pineapple, apple pen, and just some like EDM type stuff. And then I also have like country music sprinkled in there, so it's very eclectic. And some of it is like just straight up like political music. Like Chris Ray Gunn is in this category over here, anti-SJW liberals, and he was doing music. I don't know if he still does it. Kaya's a conservative. Party in Backyard is more like meme-ish. But I think they're still kind of right-leaning. I think they have some pro-Trump songs. But a lot of their stuff is like pro-PewDiePie. And there's just kind of like the music. A lot of it has that fun feel to it. And I keep rearranging it too. So if you are prone to getting sick of music in a certain order because you know what's coming next, you can listen to this, and I'm going to keep I change the order around a lot of the playlist and add new stuff to it and take songs off that I'm sick of. So there's that. Anyway, I'm going to recommend this song because it particularly sets the mood for when all four of these groups were considered the alt-right right before it kind of started breaking off, and it broke off into 2, and then it broke off into 3, and then it broke off into 4. And there's some overlap. So I'm going to explain that. So originally everyone was considered alt-right. Then summer of 2017, this actually happened before Charlottesville. There was some sort of rally in DC in the, I think, early to midsummer. I want to say June or July. And somebody from the alt-right organized it, and then they invited people from what became the alt-right, and those people, there was kind of a disagreement about being in the same group. So 2 different of these people had rallies basically in the DC, somewhere in DC, like I think right near all the good stuff like the White House and everything. Maybe the National Mall, 2 different sections of it, I want to say. So the alt-right basically coined the term alt-right for the groups that were not them. And I believe Cernovich was the guy who started the rally that ended up considered the alt-right rally. I don't know who started the rally first, or I think they were originally the rally was going to be joint, but then they didn't want to work together. At this point, there were still a lot of the followers that were kind of in both groups. So there were a lot of people who went to both rallies and filmed both rallies that came out. It was on a Saturday, but I watched some of the videos after. And then after that, you kind of had the anti-SJW liberals who were like, wait, no, I'm not a conservative. I'm not on the right. I'm still on the left. I just hate the far left. So that group kind of started to reestablish itself through those statements. And, people continued to say that they were conservative or traditional minded, but they did not consider themselves alt-right. Alt-right became all about Jew hating and pro-white type stuff. Like, one of the people that jumped off the alt-right, so to speak, would be what's her name? A Wife with a Purpose, Ayla. She came out, I think, January of 2018 or December of 2017. She came out and said, I do not consider myself alt-right. She's more about, like, promoting family and values. She's less political in that regard. A lot of these people who are in these groups aren't necessarily political in the traditional sense. A lot of them don't really cover the actual politicians running. They cover like the ideas and stuff or the news. So again, this video will give you a feel for like let's see darkness. I know there's like they talk about brainwashing and communism and memes. Commies flee on live streaming. That is a nod to the battles of Berkeley. There was like 3 of them where tons of people were watching these live streams of street battles between Antifa and the right. A lot of people no longer support that. Berkeley streets I saw masked. So it's mostly about that. There's a nod to Linda Sarsour in here too. Okay, moving on to the next tab. I should actually put these 2 tabs together. So these are various tabs that name off people that are considered alt-right or intellectual IDW. So you have Dave Rubin, Jordan Peterson. A lot of the people that are considered IDW are people that have been on the Rubin Report and the Rogan. So, and Eric Weinstein is the brother of Brett Weinstein, who is at the center of the controversy. Joe Rogan here. And this is where the overlap with the Anti-Ayan anti-SJW liberals, a lot of them are atheists. A lot of them. So a lot of them are following, like, Sam Harris. But they're, like, the followers of him making their own content. So I would place them separately, like Shoe on Head, some black guy. I guess he considers himself a conservative, but he's still, like, kind of in that old skeptic community that used to be about atheism and much more like pop culture oriented. And Nightmare Fuel, the guy I mentioned towards the beginning of this video, he would be an anti-SJW liberal. And I also wanted to mention, like, Tim Pool is on here, and he always says, I don't know how I'm on here, but he's very intelligent, so he is on here. I think he, like, redesigned drones for reporting news, for filming. So, but he's also been on Joe Rogan a couple times, and he's been on the Rubin Report. He's well known too. People who are considered IDW are generally more well known. Well, I guess Shoe and Head's pretty well known, but I don't think she's done any interviews or anything like that. This is, I'll link this in the description, Dave Rubin actually discussing the IDW. And I want you to look up this guy, Jonathan Haidt. He wrote a book called The Coddling of the American Mind, and it was about the college shoutdowns. So, in particular, around Halloween, I don't know if it was 2014 or 2015, but there was a shoutdown where there was a husband and wife professors who were both working at Harvard, and the wife wrote a piece for the school paper about how this whole, cultural appropriation in Halloween costumes is ridiculous. People should be able to wear what they want. So this girl cornered, and her friends cornered, it was not her they cornered her husband, who was also a professor at Harvard. And you've probably seen the clips of the video. The girl's like, it's not fair. No, it's not nice. I don't feel safe. Like stomping her feet and like whining and crying like a 2-year-old. I want to be able to tell other people what they can and can't wear for Halloween, that was the basis of it. It's not nice. It's not fair. I don't feel safe. Like, and that's how she sounds, too. She literally sounds like, dump my feet. I'm a little 2-year-old, but I'm in college. That's exactly how the girl sounds. I'm not exaggerating. Anyway, so he was on, that's another thing, is some of these people even get on Bill Maher, who is probably one of the most open-minded people on the left who's not been canceled off of TV yet. I can't believe he hasn't gotten more backlash, because he actually has. Like, he had Milo on his show. Yeah. Oh, and Milo they also consider part of this IDW. So anybody who's been on like Rubin, Joe Rogan, and Bill Maher is probably IDW. And the final tab that I have here is, and I mentioned that in this video, they have kind of a backlash against Linda Sarsour. The backlash against Linda Sarsour was really big in 2017 when I came into like being more politically awake. And so her old cringy tweets were circulating, and this was one that circulated, and it ended up making Brigitte, Gabriel, and Hirsi very popular. So, Ayan Hirsi was a victim of that FGM stuff, where they sew up the girl's special area, shall we say? When she's like, I don't know, I've heard as early as 6 months. I've heard a lot. Most of the stories I hear, the girls say they were like 5, 6, 7, 8 when it happens to them. And they like have to bind their legs and everything when they do this to the girls. for a few weeks. So that's how everybody in the community knows, because you go back to school and like your legs are bound together. Lovely. Lovely that parents do this to their kids. So anyway, Ayan Hirsi had that awful procedure done to her that like her parents take them, and a lot of times this is even done with like rusty instruments. I believe girls die from this, from complications from this. But anyway, she had that procedure done, and yet Linda Sarsour tweets this out. So I bring that up because Ayan Hirsi is on these lists as IDW. So I just wanted to highlight that. She's here and here. But I don't really hear people talk about her very much anymore. Like, she was on Rubin Report back in 2017 when really like all of this stuff kind of bubbled up. And then 2017 is also when the incident happened at Evergreen State College. And that's kind of the incident that happened at Evergreen State College is how the whole idea of the intellectual dark web came about and pulled from all of this other anti-establishment, anti-left type movement that was coming out, that even includes people who are like on the left. A lot of these people are leaving the left because of this, or they're considering themselves still on the left, but they're backlashing against the like far left SJW woke Twitterati, just basically the commies, although some of them don't know that they're commies. But SJWs are basically commies, just authoritarian, just want to take over the world, which is very being taught to high school and college kids. So, I think I covered all of the tabs that I had here to cover and explain to you guys. So, I will thank you for stopping by my channel, and I will see you all next time.
People need to be awake, and they need to be aware. They need to stand up against this stuff. People need to be awake. People need to be awake, and they need to be aware. And they need to stand up against this stuff.
And it's so politically engaged.
And is so politically engaged.